Hello, everyone, and again, welcome to the Wonderkamer. That delightful theme song means 3 dilettantes have gathered today to tell you a tale. I am Jen Rempel. I'm here with
Dave Powell
and
Tracy Anderson Poe.
And we are continuing with Dave's tale of the VTubers. So I know last week we had a bit of an intro to this topic. It was quite fascinating. Tracy, I think you had something to say about this.
Yeah, I just felt kind of bad. I think we were a little bit harsh on the VTubers themselves, maybe their fans. I think that we shouldn't be the ones to yuck on someone's.
And what she means by that is, please don't dox us. You know, I myself was also pretty critical. And the thing is, we are a fun, humorous, informational podcast. These are our own opinions. We're not worth going after. But anyways, go ahead, Dave.
If you want to dox Jen, contact at thewonderkamer.ca. And I'd say that my primary target of the last episode was the corporations or the talent agencies or corpos. And the fans caught a few strays because bad fan behavior is a major, major hazard of anybody in any entertainment industry. Yeah. Lord knows we have stories of celebrities being stalked and harassed to the ends of the earth. This does not mean that the concept of acting is bad. So this is, or that being a fan of an actor is somehow something you shouldn't be doing.
No.
I'm going to be talking a lot about the politics of fan communities as sort of dual forces here. Because this is a story about the corpos.
Yes.
But the fans are a second source of joy and misery for VTubers at the same time. But I do want to make it clear that people enter VTubing because they want to, because they love it. It's not like a last resort. Very few people expect VTubing to work out for them. And those who do are just kind of shooting for the stars like anybody who moves to Los Angeles to get to Hollywood.
Or starts a podcast.
Starts a podcast. Exactly, right?
Just going to say, we're not so different.
If you ever see a dime from this podcast, we will have been some of the select few. Yeah. So I'm going to dive in and start talking about some of the concepts I introduced. And one of those is the Black Corporation, the Japanese term for a company that treats its staff unethically. And the horrible stories I told last time about, basically driving talent to attempt, exposing personal detail and doxing them to an insane extent, vengeance through litigation. This stuff was all people talked about in the VTubing scene because VTubing fans love talking about VTuber drama. As a pro wrestling fan, I can relate. And this meant that there was a desire for a idol-style talent agency that didn't suck and wasn't exploitative. If all the people running these corpos were men, most of them are complete assholes, the solution is what if it's a nice guy. So,
or a nice lady, but that'd still be on the table.
I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Although there is a nice lady later on in the story.
That's good.
Yes, but and that was sort of the setup. There is clearly it has to be a man. What if we try a nice one? So in the early days of Twitch, the developers were beloved by the streaming community, and there was this wholesome mom and pop operation feel. And one of the most popular was Justin Ignacio, aka the Gun Run, and I'm going to just refer to him as Gun Run going forwards. Gun Run started as a video game esports commentator and then was integral in setting up video gaming tournaments at a fairly high level, and thus was hired by Twitch to sort of handle the incredible technical demands of this fast-growing platform who had to stream high-end video game tournaments in high quality. The logistics of this are insane, and he was a wonderkid. This guy made the Forbes 30 under 30 in 2014.
Wow.
And was beloved by fans. They had emotes set up just to like reference the gun run, and he was just a character that was really embedded in the sort of early what people may call the good old days of Twitch before it was bought up by Amazon. After Twitch was bought out by Amazon, he eventually decided, well, I've got wealth, I've got a name for myself, I have a good reputation, and he was a fan of VTubing. So he decided to try to break into the scene and do something different and try to make an ethical talent agency. And his vision was to forefront, and this is their brand, talent freedom.
Their actual motto is talent first.
When you compare this to HoloLive, HoloLive will hire somebody who's not known as a VTuber, like maybe somebody who's a talented singer and a dancer, and okay, you're going to be a VTuber now. They kind of bring them. And what he wanted to do was bring in established independent talent under their own name, and if they left, they would keep their names and avatars and IP. And also,
that's reasonable.
Yeah, it is. It's surprising too.
That's exactly it. And the other thing is the talent keep their tips. When you're in VTubing, it's actually when you're in VTubing under a corporation, it's kind of like, waiting tables where you receive your money for just doing the job, which tends to be through merchandising and sponsorships. These are the two revenue streams, but then there's the tips. And that's where most of them make the real money, which is fans subscribing to their channels. If you're on YouTube, buying super chats, basically different ways to give them money because you're a fan of what they're doing, and streaming of all kinds is sort of like, again, waiting tables or even busking. You had a secondary source of income.
Right.
So he would not touch the tips. He would not touch the subscribers. But the sponsorships and merchandising, the company would handle that and talent receive a cut. So the company was called Vshojo, and it launched in late 2020 with a roster of the top independent names in VTubing who brought their own pre-built audiences over. And while I've mentioned names and things like that, I'm actually going to walk through the key names in this roster, and I will show you a picture here. And we're going to go left to right, because most of these names are going to come back.
Okay. And
come back in a way where I'd like, our listeners and our dilettantes to have some familiarity when I call back to these names. So starting from the far left is Zentreya. Zentreya is interesting in that she uses text-to-speech. So she never does voice acting. Everything is, hi, I am Zentreya. But she's also this sort of morose super nerd with elaborate character lore who's also quietly insane and is just kind of a fascinating character. To the right of her is Silverveil, noted for her inclusive and cozy streams. To the right of her is Iron Mouse, who I will circle back to, because Iron Mouse is going to be who I talk about more than anyone else. To the right of that is Project Melody. And Project Melody was a key founder of Vshojo, and one of their I kind of worked as a talent scout. She's like, get in Iron Mouse. She's noted for being a lewd tuber who kind of created or at least probably created the art of being a fully rigged up 3D avatar who's still doing porn.
Oh.
Yes. So, and Project Melody's a character, but this was her launch into doing kind of normie streams, just playing video games. But she always had the side hustle of doing sex work. After that is Natasha Nyanners, who has a breathy, angelic voice and a tendency to cut kind of edgy rap tracks. Nyanners is another character. After that is Fruit, or Apricot the Lich, who is kind of noted for being easily spooked. And Hime Hajime, who is loud and aggressive, but also I'm not going to talk about her again. So, hi Hime. I don't know her, but all the love. So
now, I just said, I don't judge, and I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but looking at these images, I'm like, this is misogynist. What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, go back.
Like, instinctively, I'm like, what is this? This is not like, okay, who's this supposed to be for? And I personally, I'm like, if you're a dude and you look at that and I'm like, yeah, that's what I want, I kind of judge. I'm kind of like, really? Like, it's fake. They're just these fantasies. Like,
recall what I talked about in part 1, right? the entire format of anime style is based on this kind of gender orthodoxy where you get these exaggerated character features and, the giant zero gravity tits, various things like that, and the over-the-top femininity, which is, it's such a convention within anime style that this is something that is kind of tied into the entire thing. And yes, there is unbelievable misogyny within anime style, and it plays right into this. And this is something, the very huge, like, again, you read manga, right? You're very aware of this. This is just tying right into that. So these are conventions of a style which is beloved by women and queer people, despite it being misogynist. And this is, and again, you have the underground side of it, where you sort of reappropriate these concepts, and that's where you get into these sort of, like, the queer, the countercultural, and the other interesting narratives. But when you're doing an agency that is tying into idol style, this goes with that gender orthodoxy, and I'm going to use the term gender orthodoxy again, because the gender politics of this are so important. Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's no question that that there's unbelievable misogyny in this style. And these are the models that they put together because this is what they want. And, I mean, particularly, these are independent streamers, right? They came up with this on their own without a company telling them to, and they're all women. But it's also misogynist, right? It's complex. But yeah, Tracy, before we move on, I want to know what you think.
I don't know. I look at these models and I think sometimes you just want to feel sex, and maybe you're not happy with the way your body looks, so you struggle to feel sex. So if you've got this model, then you've got that right there. You're like, this is a projection of myself.
Right. And again, the key thing here is this is a cartoon, and the style is exaggerated deliberately. That's the whole thing. And
yeah,
so,
like, look at those shoes.
Right.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. And for myself, I've never felt sexy a day in my life. But if I wanted
me
to,
neither.
I know. Well, this thing, I mean, and we should, damn it, we should. We're feminists.
We are.
Again, we can be as sexy as we want to be. We are sexy, damn it. But what I will say is, if I wanted to me, it's just, I guess my thing is with fantasy and reality, I wouldn't feel good about myself if it was a fake. I would feel worse. Having a fantasy projection of myself and my perfect body, it'd make me feel worse.
This is something that is a challenge for me as somebody who likes a lot of things about anime and VTubing, but is not, I'd say, a proper fan, right? I am a tourist here, but I'm a tourist who has really talked to hardcore fans. And the outright misogynist themes, and particularly, like, and I'll be blunt, anime and the more adult stuff, hentai, just gets extremely rapey, right? And these are serious problems.
Yes.
At the same time, what you have is this style which allows people to tell stories and play with ideas in a way that you simply cannot through the conventions of Western media, because on our end, although there are the graphic novels, that's not that's kind of a niche thing with a high bar of entry, as opposed to where every single person is just growing up trying to draw manga nowadays, because it's this easy style to start drawing, and the stories that are told are anything, because although it's inherently kind of teenagey, there's an incredible amount of adult, and I mean content for adults, which is artistic and of high value, while at the same time existing within these conventions. And for those listening, we're recording this a few weeks after part one. But again, go back and re-listen to part one, because I'm really trying to underline the framing of this.
And you did a good job. I can't help get my opinions in there.
So I'm going to get back onto this so we don't give 80 hours of content for Tracy to edit down. Vshojo hit the ground running. It was an immediate success because these fans all piled in from the existing streamers. And at the head of it was Iron Mouse, who you see is the sort of pink, somewhat childlike looking, even little cruder model of a demon there. Or like a demon girl. And
I thought she was supposed to be a mouse.
Well, her name is Iron Mouse, but the little horns.
Oh, those are horns. I thought those were ears.
No, Iron Mouse had a pretty janky model early on, but Iron Mouse is kind of the hero of the story. So she's a Puerto Rican VTuber who was, or I should say, is bedridden with a severe chronic illness, common variable immunodeficiency.
It's Common Variable Immunodeficiency, or CVID. My audio in this episode is terrible for reasons I could never figure out. We ended the recording early and picked it up the next week. You may notice a sneaky cut where my audio magically improves.
She was training to become a professional opera singer when a major throat infection completely destroyed her career. And through that infection, she discovered she had CVID, and which almost
What's that?
Common variable immunodeficiency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
that's
put in brackets CVID. No, and it's, even though it says common, it's a very rare disease. It's just the way the title. And she is to this day bedridden, right? She can barely walk.
That's too bad.
As a result, she was unable to do anything but lie in bed and sort of go online. So she started VTubing in 2018 as a way to deal with the loneliness, because she didn't know. Because, again, she is at times near death and rigged up with a ton of medical equipment, does not want to show her face. So her endearing personality and a voice that genuinely sounds like a cartoon child, thanks to that throat infection and also just kind of a naturally high voice, and the fact that she is an opera singer, started to get her to go viral. So I'm going to show you a short clip here. I'm going to be a little short on the video clips this time, but I think this is get a sense of why Iron Mouse is a big deal. So we're going to click on that. And this is Iron Mouse with her again, her earlier kind of jankier model.
Shit.
All right, so what we can see here is just genuinely a terrified young woman, like just showing off the skills she has. And this is really endearing. And this catapulted her to a rising star on Twitch. And she started to get more and more fan attention. In April 2020, she launched a fundraiser for herself to get a new workstation, which she admitted was a new bed, because that's the only place where she can work. And she started talking a little bit more about how serious her illness was. So sort of admitting that, she never leaves her bed, basically. Her hope was to raise $2,000 in 8 months, and she got that much in 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So,
damn. Well, she's obviously very talented, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Singer.
She's an excellent singer, and she is the more I looked into her, I tried to kind of find something that sucked about her. And although I think that her overwhelming popularity kind of makes a few people roll their eyes, because she is a superstar nowadays, she genuinely just seems like kind of an angel, which is nice. It's nice to see someone good. And so there's a lot to be said about the politics of charity, but she trapped into a lot of goodwill, people who just rooted for her. And Project Melody also, who is, again, a very big independent VTuber. And so Iron Mouse also started to get even bigger when Project Melody led a raid onto her stream, bringing over a ton of her fans. So,
can you describe what that means?
Well, okay, a raid is when you have two simultaneous people streaming on Twitch, and one says, I'm ending my stream, okay? I'm done for the day, I'm going to bed or whatever. And the fans still want to see something. So they will do what's called a raid, which is a good thing, and the streamer will say, we're going to this person's server. And then they'll bring all of their fans over. So this is a great way for up-and-coming VTubers to get a lot of attention, where a bigger stream says, hey, I like this person, and then leads all of their fans over there. And then
it's kind of like a band touring with a small local indie group that opens for them.
You
Give them some attention.
it's a reverse opening act, right? Or
Yeah.
like a lead-in on TV. A friend of mine who started streaming Northern King of Frogs, well, shout out later, has an amazing model. And because of that, they've had a couple of raids early on, which is really nice to see. Because it's a hard industry to get off the ground. The other aspect of Iron Mouse worth mentioning is her friendship with a streamer, Sea Dog, or just Connor. He is a Welsh streamer living out of Japan, and he is a flesh tuber, which is a normal streamer. It's just a normal streamer. So you see his face and everything. And this big, rich, bassy voice, and just genuinely seems like an unbelievably wholesome person. They've developed a kind of older brother, kid, sister relationship. And Iron Mouse is older than people think. Like in that clip, she's probably in her mid-20s and is pushing 30, if not 30 nowadays. But he is
that's young.
Well, for VTubing, she's a hag.
Really?
Again, when we go back to the idol forces that come in here, it is VTubers tend to be in their early 20s a lot of the time. But as the industry ages, so do the big talents.
So what you're saying is that Jen and I don't really have any options to be VTubers?
Actually, you do. I'll get into that. Because
it's called GrayTube. Again, that'll be the podcast, the 4-part series, The Agonizing Pain in Which I Live Every Day.
Yeah. There are definitely VTubers who don't do the God, I forgot the term, but there is an anime trope of like the beautiful young woman, which you see people leaning into hard with Vshojo, but that is not necessarily the only type, and there's very successful VTubers who are just kind of like regular adult age, past where their brains are fully developed north of their 30s. So
here's the thing about all this: we could just put up a little prepubescent cartoon figure with giant breasts, and it doesn't matter how old we are.
That's true.
It's the character that matters. Ooh. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I personally would want like an old haggard woman as my whatever it's called.
Avatar.
Yeah. That is some kind of creature, some kind of critter.
And people do that too. And again, here's the thing: is when you're looking at independent VTubers, all bets are off, and people do anything. And you can see some really whacked out models that have nothing to do with anime style, or they do anime style where they are going against that sort of gender orthodoxy and will play themselves as more androgynous, or even just like women who look less exaggerated, or men who look less exaggerated. There are plenty of VTubers. They're just sort of incidental to the stories I'm telling here. One of the things is the voice is the most important part of your character. And if you bring forth the voice of like an adult woman, your model will tend to reflect that. Because if you sound like you're in your late 30s and your model looks like she is 18, it's a little incongruous.
Yeah, it's
fair. All about the voice that you bring forwards, right? So the big thing about Connor is he collaborates with Iron Mouse all the time and has they bicker constantly in a fun way, playing into a tsundere sort of stereotypes, which fans love. But he does unbelievable charity work. He has biked across the entirety of Japan to raise money for Iron Mouse's favorite charity, which I'll talk about a lot. And there is it's one of the better relationships I've seen, sort of particularly between a man and a woman in the sort of the VTubing space, where it's like genuinely wholesome.
That's good. That's nice to hear.
Back to Vshojo, they had a good 2021 and brought in more and more talent. Started with noted degenerate and showerphobe Vebe. They finally started.
Do I want to know?
She is somebody who sort of is not shy about her depression.
Sure, that's fair.
Oh, yeah.
So they finally started to hit a couple of scandals late in that year. So the first scandal I'm going to talk about is kind of a growing pain. In October 2021, Natasha Nyanners was doxxed, along with several other independent VTubers. Another independent VTuber, a man named Nuxtaku, spoke up and claimed that he knew people were being fished by some bad actors pretending to be Vshojo. Vshojo had been holding auditions, and what they did is used Vshojo.net and Vshojo.org in order to send emails saying, we want to have you on, send us your details.
Oh.
And
they got hacked.
And yeah, absolutely. So we had, and like heartbreaking, right? We had independent talents who thought they were going to suddenly become rich and famous. And they just been ripped off. And doxed even, so traumatized beyond that. So
that's terrible.
And Nux is full of enthusiasm and jittery, sort of crystal methy kind of vibes. And he dropped a video about this because Vshojo was not saying anything. And he broke down the entire scheme, bragging about how he found these people, got the home address of the key person who was doxing everybody, and put a stop to them. So, like,
put a stop to them?
And
yeah.
Just kidding.
As far as I can tell, they're fine.
They were not killed?
I don't believe so. That said, what happens in VTuber space stays in VTuber space. So,
thanks.
This video
No, I'm just kidding.
was a real labor of love from Nux, and he posted it, and the Vshojo talent were furious. Because what he did is he exposed the entire operation of how the doxers work, and to the talent, gave people keys to dox them even further.
That sucks.
And so, tons of Vshojo talent immediately started posting, what the hell are you doing? We told you not to post this. This is an enormous betrayal. You never respect us. That kind of thing. And what had happened at the same time is Vshojo posted a big, congratulations, Nux, you did a great job, response to his video. Vshojo then completely reversed course, took down their congratulations, and eventually posted a document picking apart his video and all of the inaccuracies in it. Who I genuinely believe was a well-meaning dumbass who thought he could be a hero. Which, when you're dealing with complicated things like this, and I say this as a union rep, can be a problem. Shared a ton of receipts about how he was collaborating with Vshojo the whole time. And this got messy as everyone tried to show, everyone talks on Discord, show different Discord logs about what happened. And what really comes through on this is Vshojo had a tendency towards people pleasing. And an allergy to controversy. And so what they did is, rather than taking charge of this, they let Nux take the fall, whether it worked out or not.
Sure.
Following the scandal, Vshojo continued to do well, though, and Gunrun's fundraising efforts really paid off. Our favorite people, venture capital companies, invested $11 million of seed money into Vshojo in 2022. Vshojo then kicked off a lot more hiring and launched their own Japanese branch, similar to how Hololive and Nijisanji have English branches, led by talents Kateson and Amamiya Nizuna, and continued to debut new talent in the English branch. Iron Mouse then, while they're doing so great, started a yearly tradition of subathons, where she ran a 31-day marathon stream.
Oh my god.
Where, because she's in her bedroom all the time, if she was asleep on stream. And a subathon is, if you subscribe to Iron Mouse, half the money goes to her favorite charity, the Immune Deficiency Foundation, or as I'm going to call it, the Good IDF.
Yeah.
And
the good, yeah. It took me a second. Yes.
It's constantly referred to as the IDF when talking about this, and there's another IDF, which is a different podcast that someone else has done better.
Yeah.
She earned $500,000 for the Good IDF. So she raised an absurd amount of money for this charity.
That's amazing. That's great. Yeah.
Wow.
So things are smoking hot for Vshojo, and the goodwill for the company was really going well. And Gunrun also was publicly celebrated by the talent, talking about how nice he was. Iron Mouse describing him as one of the kindest people she's ever met in her life, and she's had all sorts of bad experiences with men. But then, tragedy struck. A 9/11 occurred for video game streamers, and the worst thing that could possibly happen. Hogwarts Legacy was released on February 10th, 2023, and everything went to shit.
Oh, I've heard a bit about this.
This is brand new to me. All I know is, again, I'm going to go in the JKR as a transphobe.
Oh, trust me, this is entirely about that. And I'll fly the flag.
Yeah.
As I get into this, because I'm going to drop some takes that are going to be kind of controversial. This is a radically pro-trans podcast.
Yes.
We are pro-trans in the most inclusive possible way. However you are. You deserve full accommodation. government supports for any kind of medical transition. We have your backs no matter what. You are our friends, our family, and our community, and we love you.
100%. That's
I might
right,
say
Dave.
a couple things that might piss a couple people off, though.
Okay.
So the first thing is even mentioning Hogwarts Legacy.
I know. It's like, evil.
Well, and here's the thing, right? Hogwarts Legacy, and I'll get into this, is held up as this symbol of transphobia because you have this, particularly the millennial generation, but the generations younger, everybody grew up on Harry Potter. Right? And like it or not, it was the book the book series that everybody read, everybody watched the movies, and a ton of queer people found this sort of a happy, inclusive space, even though it was, the books were not particularly gay, aside from cowardly saying Dumbledore was gay after publication. Go, Jesus Christ. And then J.K. Rowling turned out to be not just a transphobe, but the most effective and politically powerful transphobe on the planet. She is a billionaire who has dedicated her life to eliminationist policies about trans people.
It's disgusting. Yeah.
It's
can I just...
Yeah.
I do want to brag that I literally have never read the Harry Potter books or seen them. I was in college and a professor told me, you can't be an English major if you've never read Harry Potter. And I thought, the fuck if I can't, because that woman, those books are trash. Now, this was before we knew how trash she was. This is a bit of a bit of a brag on my part. I feel like it's fine. But I'm outside of that whole world as well. So hearing about this, for me, is sort of just a lot of schadenfreude. But
this gets ugly.
What I do want to say, though, is, anytime, if you purchase any Harry Potter merch or the books or anything, you are directly supporting transphobia, so cut it out.
Interesting you make that point. That's where this is going. So, in the ongoing culture war, VTubing exists in a strange political space. And this goes back to your visceral reaction to seeing the launch of the Vshojo full models, right? VTubing ties in with idol culture, or at least corporate VTubing. And idol culture is conservative. And it is allergic to anything it considers controversial and political, which includes the existence of queer and trans people. And this, of course, goes into the fence sitter phenomenon, which we're going to get into a lot. So hold your takes on that until we get there.
Okay.
VTuber agencies follow suit, and so what you will almost never see is a VTuber talk controversial politics at length. You will see a few VTubers, like Iron Mouse has said trans rights a million times, because she's fucking awesome. Most of them do not, irrespective of their personal beliefs. Iron Mouse is so popular, she's almost untouchable about that. Others, maybe not so much. And although they might make edgy jokes for a little bit of a shock jock thing, but you'll never see anyone form something as definite as an opinion. You'll never go to a corporate VTuber and then see them go in deep on, like, ICE, for example, or Israel Gaza, or all these major topics of conversation.
Right.
The entire principle behind the corporate VTubers under idol culture is this is a space where anyone can just hang out and be entertained. It's like, don't talk politics if you want to be polite. It's the same kind of thing.
Gotta keep it nice and anodyne.
Yeah.
But throughout the rest of the internet, there is a knife fight going on between different camps. And video games, particularly to Jen, I'll stress this, are the fiercest battlefield for the terminally online. Devoted gamers...
Oh, Gamergate, I know.
Exactly. Devoted gamers are incapable of discussing video games with a sense of proportionality. Like, not all of them, obviously. I game a lot, and I believe I can. But this catalyzed a decade ago with Gamergate, the misogynist harassment campaign against feminist forces in the video game industry.
Yeah.
And Gamergate worked and didn't work. It didn't work because it didn't eradicate feminism from video games, but it did work because it catalyzed the nascent online right and was the central creation of Mega. J.D. Vance, I'm not sure if he was like a Gamergater, but this is the cohort he comes from, right?
Yes, that's right.
And many, many people are represented by. So, Hogwarts Legacy took the overheated, hyperbolic tendency in video game discourse and turned it into a bizarro world gamer game. And,
interesting.
And the logic goes, as you just said, Jen, J.K. Rowling is going to benefit from purchases of any of her products. And therefore, money to J.K. Rowling is funding transphobia. So therefore, if you buy the game, play the game, give it airtime, you're taking a side. And
this is all starting very familiar to me now. I think I was on the periphery online reading about this. Okay, this is all starting very familiar. Yes, this is all sounding very familiar. Sorry, carry on.
And I want to stress how this video game in particular has been held up as a symbol of transphobia to this day, where people are uncomfortable with it being named. People, like, if I bring it up, people will redirect and call it the Wizard game.
Interesting.
Ironically, kind of like how you can't talk about Voldemort. And
didn't know you couldn't.
Oh, well, again.
Sorry, I'm just being smug that I've never taken part in this Hogwarts world.
I read them all because they're fine, and I hate missing out on what the cultural zeitgeist is. But
see, I'm an inveterate snob. I'm like, you tell me to read it, fuck you. Anyway, that's my problem.
I read it.
This one time I was right. Okay.
I read it. I enjoyed it. I watched the movies, and I was fine with it until we started hearing about her transphobia. And now I can't imagine myself reading about it or reading it or interacting with it in any way because it just feels so disgusting.
It feels gross, right?
Well, yeah. Honestly, it's like if you've seen, say, Leaving Neverland. I was never a Michael Jackson fan, but I am shocked when I hear Michael Jackson playing on the radio in like the grocery store in a way because I'm like, I can't not think of that. You know what I mean? And so it's sort of like, and again, I love the Smiths. Don't listen to him very much anymore because I'm like, oh, Mr. Whatever.
Morrissey.
Fasho Morrissey, whatever. I'm trying to think of a nickname for him, but I don't know. He's a right-wing piece of shit, right? So it's like, what do you, like, it just, music I love gets tainted where I just can't even listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. It just feels dead to me.
Some people can, but for me, I'm like, man, just not interested anymore.
Yeah.
It's the separating the art from the artist with a crowbar is a constant topic. But again, we're right into this. So
yeah.
But what I really want to stress here is they don't call it the Wizard books. They don't call her like the Turf, right? But they can't name the video game. The video game has been charged with a kind of symbolic power.
Yes.
And I think the reason for this is that Hogwarts Legacy was the first major Harry Potter release that actually had a chance of doing well because nobody cares about the Fantastic Beasts movies since J.K. Rowling went full transphobe. And again, video games are this supercharged political space where they are treated with an outsized sense of, again, that like, I don't believe it's being treated proportionally because Harry Potter, to this day, is still one of the best-selling book series on the planet year by year. Hogwarts Legacy was a single video game release, and to be clear, it's developed by a company who take almost all the profits. They bought the license from Rowling. But
interesting.
Yeah, it's not like she wrote the video game. She just licensed it to a video game company.
So she gets a cut in some sense.
Yeah, no, she profits from it, clearly.
Right, I see.
But key thing here is different camps break out when this game comes on, and everybody's talking about it in these spaces. I cannot stress how, like, I ran an online community, and I had to put a moratorium on talking about the video game because it was pissing people off. And there are various camps that broke out. From the more moderate ones, I will not play it and prefer to never hear about it, to the more radical ones, nobody should play it, and it must be stopped. And then on the other side, you've got the right wing who don't care about Harry Potter, but love transphobes, and so can use this in a cynical way to their advantage.
Yep.
And then most of the people who are, this is just a game, what are you mad about, this is stupid. Then perhaps those who are vehemently pro-trans, but maybe thought this wasn't the tactic. Which, spoiler, that's where I am. The radical boycott crowd were intense, particularly on Twitter and Twitch, and their most notorious tactic was to draw up a list of streamers who they could then name and shame and pressure them to stop streaming the game. To see where we're going here. Now, one name that was not a Vshojo talent at that time, but does matter to the story, is Pikami, who later became known as Henya. And I'm just going to call her Henya because that's the name I know her by, and there's enough names here. Henya streams in both English and Japanese and belonged to an independent group called VOMS. And Henya is a kind of a gloriously incapable adult that is sort of a trope people love within these kinds of spaces. Like, genuinely, and friends have said this, her parents won't let her hold knives. She's in her 20s.
Wait.
Wow.
The character or the actual person?
No, the actual person.
Okay.
She crashed 2 cars in a week. She is a helpless adult, and some people can't adult, and she takes it to an extreme. But she is also, like, super cheerful and like, pleasant and funny. And so, you know, you get why she's successful, right? There is a certain, oh my god.
Do I get it?
You get it, Tracy?
Yeah, kind of.
That's like seeing a cat run into a wall. You're like, ah, bless your heart.
Yeah.
But when it's in a grown-ass adult, okay, well, we'll carry on. We don't need to know what I think all the time.
I guess on one hand, I do have a hard time coming up with sympathy for somebody who isn't allowed to hold knives.
Like, I'm sorry, at a certain point, like, there's self-infantilization. That's what I mean. And it is, again, born sexy yesterday. That's a whole trope, right? I'm just a girl. I can't even hold a knife. I'm so dumb. Sorry. Oh, you.
This ties in with those entire forces, and you're absolutely right. At the same time, she's genuinely like this, and what other job could she get?
I mean, that's the thing, yeah. I would say, just as a blanket to all of this, the problem with all of this, again, is the capitalist superstructure under which we are all being crushed. Because these things are all, like, everything being equal, people can do whatever they want. But we live in this system where people are being pushed to these misogynist stereotypes and all these things because that's what's making money for a capitalist. We all know how I feel.
Yeah, and no, again,
it's capitalism.
And patriarchy. Patriarchy.
Yes, well, yes, go hand in hand, yeah.
Even though I am very much an economy before other things kind of person, but different podcast.
Yes.
So she is Japanese, right? And that's the key thing. So she is not clued into any of the controversy about Hogwarts Legacy and has no clue. She starts streaming Hogwarts Legacy because it is a massive video game launch, and she kind of likes Harry Potter, and it is immediately harassed offline. A month later, she quits the company, and she kind of vanishes. People speculate she has quit VTubing entirely, and because, again, this is someone who, again, probably a very vulnerable person. And this only worsened the infighting because the right started to wave her around as a symbol of how a reasonable person, a reasonable transphobe, even though their opinions on trans people probably don't even exist, but she's held up as this symbol because these are all fighting symbols. And meanwhile, the more left crowd are going, yeah, if you look at it, she was probably quitting the company anyways, and she was. But the circumstances under which she quit were very clearly affected by this.
Yeah.
Afterwards, Vshojo steps into it as Silverveil, the cozy streamer, a lifelong Harry Potter fan, wants to play the game. She is bombarded with attacks, and every single thing that's mentioned about this has endless replies, calling her out as a transphobe, and then people arguing with that, and it going down to, and just the discourse about this, I cannot stress, was awful. Furthering the ire of the boycott crowd, it was discovered as people crashed her streams to complain that the word trans was auto-moderated. Whether she did it or a moderator, because again, moderators are volunteers who are handling thousands of live people at once, and how closely a streamer is on top of what they're doing varies. But either way, it doesn't matter if she gets benefit of the doubt, in my opinion. Silverveil went live sobbing in a genuine panic attack about the harassment and doxing, notably not talking trans issues or making a statement one way or another. Her silence was taken as evidence of guilt, and it got worse, and she stopped streaming for a little while things blew over. Now, Vshojo was silent throughout all of this, and the other talent ended up trying to fill the void. Iron Mouse, who again is like the most visibly pro-LGBT corporate VTuber, probably out there, spoke out loudly against the harassment and asked people to fight for LGBTQ+ rights in a more constructive way. Fruit outright donated to the Mermaids charity for trans youth. Sort of every like on this tweet, I'll send money to mermaids. But which is lovely. But because the fans are fighting nonstop, they think this is indication that the VTubers are fighting about the same thing they are, and therefore Fruit is subtweeting Silvervale and using this as a veiled attack against her.
Oh boy.
That's what I mean. Go outside. Like, honestly, hearing about this, it is so tiresome. Like, I mean, I get it. Trans rights are a hugely important issue, and I am sympathetic to the boycotters. But on the same token, it's like, do something constructive. Like, yes, this link donates to a pro-trans charity. Done. Why you got to attack? That's where it's going too far. Anyway.
As we're getting to sort of the end of the Hogwarts Legacy drama and sort of what Vshojo did, I'll share my take as well. This boycott didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Hogwarts Legacy was the biggest selling video game of 2023. Yeah. It was a massive success, and nobody knew this boycott was happening in the first place.
Because it's all normies.
Right, that's exactly it. And so what happened here is Hogwarts Legacy was seized upon as a symbol with that chain of causality, which is if you buy the game, you give money to J.K. Rowling, who will then use that money to fight trans people. And J.K. Rowling is a billionaire. The success of this game had no impact on her whatsoever.
That's true.
It was the wrong fight. And also, these harassment tactics only benefit the right. They are not a tool of the social justice crowd and the left. And the reason for that is when Gamergate happened, this tapped into old money conservative boomer interests, right? Who saw something they could use. And so that allowed them to sort of integrate into the conservative sphere and get fostered and developed as sort of the next wave of a wave of political actors. Hogwarts Legacy simply divided people.
Right.
Because nobody could have a calm conversation about this. It's been 2 years, people still can't. Again, mentioning this game at all is deeply upsetting, and some friends are probably going to be mad at me about it. But I have to talk about it because it's a corporate VTuber thing.
But even listening to this, I'm like, I'm afraid to be on a podcast now. I don't want to be recording a podcast panicking because I got doxxed, because I'm a feminist. Like, this is literally like a concern.
This is the hazard of online entertainment, and it's something we're going to have to be wary about.
Yep.
And the thing here is that by seizing upon Hogwarts Legacy and saying, if we boycott this, we'll win, there was actually no success condition. The failure of the game would not affect transphobia in any serious way.
Yes.
The fascists are now in power. In 2023, rights for trans people were being eroded all across the U.S. and various states, while the Democrats did nothing. And of course in the UK because of Rowling. So this was like tilting against windmills, right? And by using this all or nothing feeling of Silvervale must be a transphobe if she's playing this game, rather than Silvervale is very deliberately trying to avoid talking about something which she thinks is political and is going to make her life hell if she engages in it. And again, her neutrality cost her.
Yeah, because not engaging is kind of taking a side.
But would taking a side cost her more.
Right.
Right? And so it's this impossible situation.
Yeah.
Because it's tied into this corporate VTuber thing. And also, it doesn't matter if Silvervale is a transphobe. She has never said anything anti-trans. She's not a political streamer. She's not, like, agitating towards any goal. I would love it if trans people were not held up as a political football and were not treated as politics, but they are. And so these are the realities we're in. And the notion that taking down streamers who were playing this game would somehow result in any positive outcome was bad strategy. It's bad political strategy. If your politics do not have some form of self-interest for the other party, which is because if your politics are just like, you have to do this because it's right and it's because it's for other people, you're not going to recruit your cause. You need to show solidarity with trans people and that we are in this together in our community, in our families, and so forth. Not that I'm going to do this for you as a gift. That's patronizing.
Exactly, yeah.
So when this blew over properly, Vshojo then shocked everybody by announcing that Silvervale and Vebe, the depressed no-shower lady, were leaving Vshojo at the exact same time. These were the first graduations from the company, and this was weird. Graduations in idol-style agencies, of which Vshojo was one, are normally celebratory solo affairs. So when Vebe, and it's sort of like a happy funeral, was kind of that vibe. So fans were like, what the hell is going on? Vebe then indicated she quit over contract negotiations and advised people hire lawyers. The already unsettled fan base immediately turned against Vebe and Silvervale, seeing them as this beloved company, like notwithstanding Hogwarts Legacy stuff, that everyone was cheering for. They quit over money. And the fans were like basically called them greedy bitches. And there were all sorts of rumors going around, and it was ugly. And then Natasha and Yanners left shortly thereafter. So 3 people left in a very short amount of time, and the company's reputation took a bit of rocking. But true to their word, all of them returned to their independent careers quite happily. Vebe did retire, not soon thereafter, I think. But Yanners and Silvervale are still going strong to this day independently. So Vshojo did hold to their word on IP.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
So the company pivoted from this like rough patch into its best years. But with their massive amount of seed capital, they kept on hiring because Nijisanji, if we recall from part 1, was going through some troubles. So they were losing English VTubers like mad, and Vshojo saw a fire sale. So multiple talent debuted in 2023, and I'm going to draw attention to a couple who are both women sort of north of 30 who have very much an adult I have my shit together aura with them. Matara Khan, who has a kind of motherly, doting approach to the fan, and Giga, who I would say kind of comes across as a sharp, intelligent woman who's sort of aside from just having fun playing video games, sort of like basic life advice about adulting. So very much competent adults.
Oh, how refreshing.
Yeah.
Right? So speaking of people who are not competent adults, Henya the Genius joined the company, re-emerging under this new name after the Hogwarts Legacy scandal. So she had quit VOMs and then reappeared in Vshojo as Henya. And the new surge of talent kicked off their best years, with Iron Mouse as the constant juggernaut and sort of metric of success on Twitch. Vshojo sunk massive amount of money into marketing and events, moving the startup to try to stand alongside these genuine giants, Nijisanji and HoloLive, with budgets many times that of Vshojo. It also launched its Japanese subsidiary even further, with Henya particularly functioning as a bilingual glue who can entertain both audiences. They launched the subsidiary earlier, but they sort of expanded on it. Notably, it bought ludicrously expensive transit advertisements in Japan, advertising talent freedom. Like you saw these big words, talent freedom, sort of as a direct shot at HoloLive. Iron Mouse in particular was doing incredibly. So since streamers make their money from tips, I already talked about this. She repeated her subathons. And in 2023 and 2024, she's earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And in 2024, she earns another $500,000 for the good IDF. And smashed records, becoming the top Twitch streamer of all time at that point. Which
Really?
is insane. This is a male-dominated space. There is hostility to VTubers intruding on this space. And because even though there are definitely conservative VTuber fans, and we'll talk about them a lot in a little bit, there is VTubing tends to be a more progressive space with a conservative subset. But meanwhile, mainstream Twitch streamers, particularly people like Asmongold, tend to attract a pretty conservative fan base. Although he's an odd one. So, but she took the crown. Yeah.
I've heard the name. I'm like, I don't know. It's another asshole I gotta learn about.
Hey, Tracy, what do you think about Asmongold?
Oh my god. I watched a few of his streams because he was streaming something about World of Warcraft, which I have been playing for years and refuse to stop. But
help us.
He's grating. Like, I just can't listen to that guy.
Interestingly, he kind of went hard into the culture war stuff, and then has now disowned his prior transphobia very recently.
Really?
Oh. He's an odd...
All I know is the things I've seen online make him sound like a piece of shit. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. So, put it lightly. But, broken clocks or something. But to give a sense of how big this is, she dethroned Kai Cenat, who you probably haven't heard of, but he invented the word Riz. I'm 45 and I say
I just said Riz in this podcast.
Right,
you
exactly.
did.
So and also Giat, I refuse to say beyond that point. Kai took the throne back eventually, but she beat this legend who was genuinely affecting culture. That's how big Iron Mouse is. So, Vshojo's biggest at this time was growing cries of nepotism. Vshojo had been offering auditions for years, but kept debuting talent who were already established. Fans began to get cross about this, and Zentreya kind of put herself out front to defend the company, taking a bit of a beating in the process, saying that they were absolutely working on independent streamers, new streamers, and the independents who debuted were not a part of the audition process. Matara Khan also could not stop singing the praises of Vshojo, having been clearly traumatized by her time at Nijisanji. The company was seen everywhere, and alongside Hololive and Nijisanji, and the ethical talent freedom approach appeared to be working. The talents who left kept their IP, and Vshojo finally promised the debut of 2 new waves of talent, all of whom had been hired from the open auditions. Vshojo was unstoppable, the gun run was the hero of the day, and everyone lived happily ever after. May 5th, 2025.
No.
When you have a date and a podcast, at least the ones I listen to, usually bad.
Yeah, once you get specific with the time, something bad is going to happen.
That was deliberate. Yeah. So Vshojo posts the following. Dear community members, we want to share that after careful thought and consideration, we've made the difficult decision to formally part ways with Matara on May 5th, 2025. We're genuinely grateful for everything she's brought to Vshojo and wish her the best moving forward. Goodbyes are never easy, and we understand many of you deeply care about Matara, as we do. The best way to support us right now is with kindness, understanding, and respect for everyone's feeling and privacy during this transition. We're committed to our incredible talent, community, and the values we share. Thank you for your empathy and continued support. This was a shock. Matara Khan had only been with the company for 2 years, but she was really beloved and seen as, again, kind of a mother figure, right? For this, for somebody in this sea of people who are younger than her, giving this very nurturing presence, as well as a stalwart defender of the company. Shortly thereafter, one of Vshojo's founding people, the irritatingly named Mountain Dew, and I'm going to spell his name just to annoy you.
That's MOWTENDOO.
What's one word? That's annoying as hell.
That really bothers me.
He was hired into Vshojo as a content creator on YouTube who did sort of YouTube music remixes. Everything he does is annoying. But he quit and was a founding member. After that, Giga left. And the fans are starting to get worried because there's no clue of why any of this is happening. Although Matara and Giga were newer hires, and, Mountain Dew is staff, so they're newer, he's a staff member. And then Zentreya quits. And Zentreya is a company stalwart, a founding member, and absolutely integrated into the fabric of the company. Vshojo without Zentreya was kind of unthinkable. And then the talent director quits. Nothing is available publicly, and the fans are panicking. And then on July 21st, 2025, Iron Mouse posts a video. And we're going to watch a clip of this video. 3, 2, 1, click.
I am leaving Vshojo. Unfortunately, I recently found out that for the past couple of months, I have been misled by Vshojo. With the information that I currently have, I believe that I am owed a significant amount of funds, which I have not been paid. And most importantly, the thing that hurts me the most is that the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which is the most important charity to me, and also the reason why I am here today, is owed over $500,000 from Vshojo.
All right. So,
although part of me is not shocked because it's like, a corporation skimming and ripping off their employees. Ooh, shock.
Well,
shocker.
It's one thing to rip off the employees. It's another thing. Think about what I was talking about, those charity subathons.
Yeah.
They stole $500,000 from the Deficiency Foundation.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, That is a shock, but it's not a surprise.
This is a story where you knew that I was going to go to the bad news.
Now, that video we heard was what her lawyers let her say. There's the cut. Flawless, isn't it? And I think to some great stress to those lawyers, according to some later statements from Iron Mouse. We're recording this in December 25, and there's just more incoming nonstop. I cannot stress what kind of impact this scandal had on the VTubing space. The stories we had of Hololive and Nijisanji and their scandals, these companies are alive and well. Even Wactor is still around under a new name. A stupid new name, but a new name. Vshojo was completely destroyed by this.
Wactor? I don't even know her. I'm a comedy genius. So original.
You know what? You gotta laugh. That's what matters.
You know what? Cheap laughs? I'll take them.
And we'll go to the consequences
of
cheap laughs later on. Oh, you would be... We'll learn about the bad laughs later on. Spoilers.
Oh, no.
Within 3 days of Iron Mouse's video, every single talent quit Vshojo. The company folded immediately.
Wow.
So, the first thing that happened after this video was posted was that artists, musicians, and other merchants who sell assets to Vshojo all started complaining. The company always paid late, and more recently, not at all. Several talents then started posting their own videos, or just, and again, all the VTubing discourse is on, mostly on Discord or on Twitter. Those are the big two places, with a lot of stuff on Reddit and 4chan too. But if people post things, it's usually on Twitter or YouTube. Talents start posting videos. Some just took everything down in disgust. Fury and heartbreak is everywhere. What came out from almost everyone is Vshojo owed almost all of the talent, if not all of them, a lot of money. Now, if we recall Vshojo's business model, the way they work is that the talent keep their tips. So all subscriptions and other forms of tipping on Twitch, the talent goes directly to the talent. But sponsorship and merchandise is handled by Vshojo, who then divide the revenue between Vshojo and the talent. And they were just not giving the talents their cut.
Yep.
So one resignation throughout all of this, because everyone sort of had their own take, and most of it was just misery and heartbreak. But there is a Japanese English talent, but it was based out of Japan, Kason, who launched in 2022. And she quit in a magnificent way. I'm going to show you a video here. And the clip is from her live on stream. So she is on Twitch as this is going. And she calls the CEO of Vshojo Japan to grill him about what the fuck is happening.
Oh, wow.
So, and Kason speaks in both English and Japanese in this. So there's going to be some switching between languages in order to sort of get both audiences. Let me just send you the clip. And come on. No, stop it. Stop it. Ah. Sorry, my life for my Bluetooth mouse. There we go.
All right.
And the sort of lame-looking cat there is the avatar. When VTubers have a second person on stream, they often have a very simple, like, caricature who just sort of has talking, not talking animations. And so this is the one that they have for the Japanese CEO, who is kind of like a regional manager. So he is in charge of Japan, but he's not a major player in Vshojo Central. So 3, 2, 1, click.
出ていこうかな。入ってきたおかな。I quit Vshojo today.
はい。
Vshojo やめます、今日。
はい。
はい。31日予定でしたけど、今日やめます。I quit. This is very wrong. ローさん。
はい。
Very, very wrong. You're telling me that Vshojo JP was doing good? Looked like, at least.
はい。
Doing good.
払っていたとしても、ケイソンに払っていたとしても大丈夫だったっていう感じですね。
You're telling me you could have paid me?
そういうことです。
Then where is it? Where is it? I want it now. Oh. Did you just die? What?
いや、
Short little clip from a longer stream there, but she and this guy was not responsible, but he joined this stream, and there's 20 minutes of her just going at him about where the fuck is my money? You haven't paid.
Well, that's
me.
understandable.
He's just ashamedly going,
Yeah, absolutely.
Just-
And this
doesn't seem to be
took,
answering. I don't even understand Japanese
this
really,
took a
but I
set,
could tell he was not
and
answering.
yeah. So and at one point she again said, "Fuck talent freedom, I quit." Absolutely humiliate their boss like that.
That's right.
So in these apocalyptic days, the gun run, as is usual during Scandal, is silent. Finally, he posts a big accountability post, and it's a bit of a doozy, and I'll start quoting now. Vshojo has failed, and I've mismanaged the company into the situation you're all witnessing. So today, I'm sharing the difficult news that Vshojo is shutting down, and I will take full responsibility to the decisions that led us to this point. I've been doing everything I can to fundraise and help right the ship these past few months, but despite my efforts, we are in a worse position, and those I care about are now paying the price. Over the past few years, we raised around $11 million to pursue a bold, talent-first approach in VTubing, prioritizing creators and community over short-term profits to achieve long-term sustainability. Our funding went directly to our creators through splits, generous splits, debut investments, infrastructure, concerts, events, staffing, all designed to support them. We also wanted talent to own their IP, which we knew was a unique creator-first approach for the agency. However, despite all our efforts, the business failed to generate the revenue we needed to sustain the model, and eventually we ran out of money. Additionally, I acknowledge that some of the money spent by the company was raised in connection with talent activity, which I later learned was intended for a charitable initiative. At the time, we were working hard to raise additional investment capital to cover our costs, and I firmly believed, based on the information available to us, we would be able to do so and cover all expenses. We were unsuccessful in our fundraising efforts. I made the decision to pursue funding, and I owned its consequences. I'm deeply sorry to all the talent, staff, friends, and community members who believed in our brand. You did not deserve this. Justin, in brackets, gun run.
So, I'm just, again, you'll provide more details here, but it's interesting where I listened to that, and I'm like, that's plausible in terms of like, we didn't make as much money as we thought. The idea, though, that, I didn't know this is for charity.
Oh,
and then it just disappears. This all sounds very sketchy. And obviously, I'm what I'm assuming is it pleased nobody. But
the talented fans were not happy.
Yeah.
Former Vshojo talent bombarded the post, calling out gun run. Notably, the claims he didn't know that the $500,000 for charity. The company had raised $11 million over its 4-year history, and somehow wasn't able to account for $500,000 in revenue from their top talent doing the thing she is the most famous for, which he publicly congratulated her about repeatedly.
Yeah.
And again, he owned the company.
When you get those numbers, though, you're gonna get embezzlers. Like, to me, it just seems that when you have private companies, all they're about is fraud because there's no accountability.
Yeah, there's just any way to line their own pockets.
Yeah.
And I'll get into my read and I think the popular opinion on how this happened.
Yeah.
Because this company was a Ponzi scheme. Maybe not intentionally, but it was a Ponzi scheme nonetheless.
I sort of feel like, from my very limited knowledge of the Theranos scandal with Elizabeth Holmes, it kind of sounds like the same thing. It sounds like she legitimately thought that this could be a technology that could exist, got all this money and all these investors, and was like, oh, fuck, this is not possible. And then what do you do then? In this case, are they promising too much?
Double down.
Yes, and then they end up doubling down rather than being honest, and then, Yeah.
So The death of Vshojo was nothing like the VTuber space had ever seen before. It's now been a little over 5 months, and during that time, there's been an autopsy that is still ongoing. Not all of the information is out yet, particularly anything that was sort of held up by the legal counsel of talents. So, for example, Iron Mouse, when she quit, indicated, "I'll say more when my lawyers let me. That time has not come." She has
Interesting.
reinforced and spoken about some other information that's come out because it didn't come from her, though. So we've learned a lot since July. I'm going to now wind back the clock, and unfortunately, we're going to go back to this horrible time a few points during this episode to the Hogwarts Legacy drama.
Oh
boy.
Yeah.
So, if we recall, the talent who was the most directly affected in Vshojo was Silvervale, and Silvervale graduated the company in the not directly in the outcome of this drama, but in the following month. At the exact same time as a talent who had nothing to do with this, Vebe. And then shortly thereafter, a third talent left, Natasha Yanners. And they talked about how it was due to contract disputes, and the fans really turned against them. Vebe, who is self-admittedly kind of mentally ill, on the best of days, wrote a huge, "Our NDAs are now null and void. And so here's what happened" tweet.
Oh.
Sounds like a manic episode where you don't want to get into legal trouble.
Yeah.
Well, and this is, I would say, folks, if the company that you have an NDA with folds, it doesn't mean they can't sue you. It just means they don't have the money to sue you.
Yeah.
So what happened is she info dumped about this and let out the rant she had wanted to let out 2 years ago, and then other talent corroborated this on their own streams. So Silvervale spoke about this. In 2023, Vshojo's new contract demands were insane, calling for a way, way higher cut of sponsors and merch than previously. When they were negotiating, the company relied heavily on guilt, interpersonal pressure, divide and conquer tactics, and intimidation in order to get the talents to sign the contract and not use lawyers. There was very much a, "How dare you use a lawyer?" I don't think they quite said "we're family," but it was that kind of vibe. Like, "We're your friends. Why would you use a lawyer against us?"
It hurts our feelings that you are worried that we're actually going to exploit you. We would never do that.
We're a family.
Even though we just defrauded, like, the good IDF.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is in 2023, but they were on the way to certainly defrauding them.
I forgot we gone back in time.
Back in time, but
okay. So they were back in time.
Meanwhile, Vshojo's lawyer negotiating with them had an expired law license.
Well,
this is an international multi-million-dollar company. More disturbing, the talent was the company. And when I say the company, I do want to stress that this isn't all necessarily directly from the gun run. What appears to have happened is he hired his buddies into these senior management positions at very nice salaries, and they went off, and he didn't intervene to stop anything. And when he did intervene, it was rare and usually not that great. So in this case, the chief operating officer was deliberately going, setting people up to go on 4chan of all places to spread rumors that all of the departing talents were convinced to quit by their boyfriends, and they're just greedy bitches who got too big for the company.
Look, you never, misogyny is always useful to score points and to cause drama. All of this sounds obviously very shady and disgusting. So also, a really good way to run a business is to hire your friends and family. Because, the Trump administration, wonderful. They're doing so well right now.
Yes.
I have a little, just a side rant here. It's like the whole Herbert Powell. Any relation to Homer Simpson's brother? Herbert Powell?
Fourth cousin's goldfish babysitter.
Oh, okay. Well, he never hired you. See, that's the thing that drives me crazy about that episode. He's angry at Homer for designing his Homermobile. Herbert was the one who put him in that position in the first place. He destroyed his own business.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
This, to me, is the whole crux of the issue. Don't hire family to run your business or design vehicles.
Yes.
Or run a
In this
country.
case, I'm not sure it was necessarily family, but it was pals, right?
Right.
So, for example, Mountain Dew, with the worst spelled name ever, Mowtendoo, if you recall.
Yep.
So he was a notorious content creator of like YouTube poops. For those who are older and recall them, they're just like brain rot videos for millennials. And again, he was somebody who socially knew Gunrun and got in as their marketing officer and was openly harassing talent to the point he was told to stop contacting people and shit talking people behind their backs. Like they would have parties and he'd go to people and say, and try to turn them against each other.
Love living in high school
And
your whole life.
So
yeah,
very much high school stuff. So two things became apparent. Gunrun, who is, and I do want to stress, a famously nice person, was being nice when there were people in his employ who were not being nice. So although I think Mountain Dew genuinely got like reprimanded for this, he stayed on. And Mountain Dew even was, when he quit the company, he was like, "How dare you, Gunrun?" He got community noted, and fans were like, "You asshole, you're a part of this." And so Gunrun just stayed out of it and even ghosted the talent's managers at times, because all these talents have managers who are their interface to the company, and he's just like avoidant. And so not only did Vshojo have money troubles, but Gunrun did exactly what Jen said you don't, which is hire your pals. So Silvervale and Vebe graduated at the same time, deliberately to turn fans against them, which worked, and they were unable to defend themselves because of these stupid non-disclosure agreements. And so there's more and more and more that comes out of this. If we recall, the nepotism allegations about Vshojo were about them having open auditions and then debuting established talent. And people going, well, you're just hiring like people you already know, where, you know, there's nothing here for like the small streamer. Vshojo then promised 2 new talent launches in 2024, then into 2025, and kept them in the dark, endlessly delaying them over a year. One of them, Tori Oriane, spoke about sinking 5 figures worth of debut expenses into Vshojo, as well as an entire year of her life, setting up for this. Another talent spoke of how she got so excited when Vshojo said they were debuting her. She told her dad that she was going to pay for his retirement while she was waiting for her debut.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and so in Japan, one of their Japanese VTubers, Shibuya Kayo, she spoke about how there was a Vshojo staff member in Japan who kind of acted like a young rich kid with all the toys. So he was aggressive, he was weirdly cheap, and he'd show people, and he'd like go to people and show them face pictures of the VTubers and talk about their marital status in order to, like, you know, get clout. Which
gross.
Is heinous. You don't do that, right? Their anonymity is the most important thing to them. Speaking of, Natasha Yanners spoke up to reveal more of her story. If we recall, way back when, the Vshojo's first scandal was that she and several other talents got doxxed, and then an independent talent, Nux Taku, kind of made a pig's ear out of trying to expose it. Vshojo handled it badly. She was swatted. So a SWAT team was called in on her while she was streaming. But
so she's in America, yes? Is that America is the only place where swatting happens, as far as I know?
Yeah,
I don't know what it would be in other places. Or in Canada.
Okay, so let's try to swat somebody in Canada and see how it turns out.
Pierre Polyev?
Okay, never mind.
No, Danielle Smith. we just swat her, actually, because yeah.
I don't think you can swat the premier. The cops are going to know she lives. Yeah, next time. So she's in a sponsorship stream, right? And so it's like a hand cam stream, and she is like displaying this product, right? I advertise this, playing with it, and being fun for an hour. That's standard stuff. And she's saying stuff like, my hands are shaking because I'm so excited. Because she had to like pop off stream for a moment, deal with riot cops swarming her house, and then go back to stream like nothing happened.
I wouldn't.
Vshojo never paid her for that stream.
Unbelievable.
And Vebe then joined in on that stream to comment she had not been paid for sponsors going back to 2021. That's the first year of the company.
Wow.
That's obvious fraud. You're just you're not paying your talent. That's just,
Yeah, what else could that be?
I don't know. You're just it's just slavery.
That's exactly it. Silvervale elsewhere opened up about Vshojo's handling of the Hogwarts Legacy scandal, and I'll quote, "I was put into a call with Gunn, the CEO of the company, and somebody I looked up to and admired and wanted to please, someone I thought was the coolest person ever. He told me I was a damage to the brand, I was a disappointment, and I was told that me being harassed was an inconvenience to the other talent, and I should not talk to the other talent about it. Optics were more important than their own talent's well-being, and I was suspended from streaming. They said it wasn't a suspension because they aren't that kind of agency, but what else do you call being told to not stream?"
Right.
And so that gets, and I do want to note that really shortly thereafter Silvervale left, Vshojo hired Henya, who I really like. I think Henya's the best, but Henya was the first VTuber to go under because of harassment over Hogwarts Legacy. She left her prior company, Voms, because she was being while she was being harassed over Hogwarts Legacy. So, and then they just hire a talent who did the exact same thing Silvervale did.
Right.
When they gave Silvervale no supports, no instructions, no guidelines on how to deal with this. Completely threw her under the
So it
bus.
seems like anytime a company asks you to sign an NDA, they're just going to rip you off and not let you talk about it. Or you're going to get sexually harassed and can't talk about it, all this stuff.
Yeah, there's nothing good coming for you from signing an NDA.
No.
Right. And all VTuber talent agencies require one to an extent, but there is also going to be and a lot of it is about protecting the company from over inquisitive fans who want to tear apart the details of talent contract, which is to an extent maybe, but I also think about professional athletes and how much stuff is exposed about professional athletes who have a union. And that might be a better way to think about this is, well, if everything's available all the time, and you just have complete transparency, it's going to be a lot fairer. And speaking of NDAs, it gets a little worse with Silvervale. At one point, she wanted not to play a stream, citing extreme stress and needing to take a day off, which is, again, psychological harm is the number one hazard for VTubers, and most of them come in with, I'm online all the time because I'm not necessarily the most thriving person to begin with. Not always, but it is a career that is accessible to people with mental health issues. So they're kind of overrepresented.
And it's good that it is, but not if it's exacerbating the mental health issues. No.
Well, that's exactly it. Her lawyer was contacted by Vshojo, stating that they would sue her if she hinted she was leaving or unhappy with the company in any way.
That's terrifying.
Vebe was also threatened with lawsuits by Vshojo's fake lawyer who doesn't have a law license.
Oh, God.
When Silvervale left, they made her mom sign a non-disclosure agreement.
What?
I want to be clear. Silvervale's mom is not her manager. She's her mom.
Oh.
That's bizarre. Well, no, it's not if you're an evil company that's defrauding your talent. So, it's pretty standard, actually.
I've dealt with a few confidentiality clauses and near kind of non-disclosure things in my time. No one's ever had their mom or spouse or someone have to sign one. It's ludicrous. And in 2023, when all of this is happening, this is Vshojo's golden age. This is when they've got that $11 million in investment money. They have a giant stack of cash. And everyone is convinced the company is doing well from the outside. They did such a good job of quietly dividing the talent to ensure they didn't talk and using the incredible goodwill in a way that you sometimes see with NGOs, actually, where we're doing such a good thing here that how dare you think something bad about it?
Interesting.
Meanwhile, And this is something that I can't recall the specific source, but it came up, I think, in a few streams. Everyone in the corporate VTuber scene, so the other companies, knew Vshojo was hemorrhaging money and that this company did not make sense.
Really?
All of the talent were willing to speak, shared stories of really trusting in this company and really trusting in Gunrun, despite this increasing worry and how devastating and traumatizing this was for them. Matara-Kon and Project Melody, and Matara-Kon we recall is this sort of really motherly VTuber, and Project Melody, one of the key founders who does adult work, they were really hard hit. Melody ceased streaming for a little while, and Matara-Kon spoke of quite openly serious mental health issues, and in fact getting 2 therapists at one point. Vebe just stopped streaming after the trauma of this when she left in 23. So the person with the most insight that I found was another one of the VTuber talents, Giga. Giga was hired out of Nijisanji, as I mentioned before, and she is again in her 30s and has a shrewd businesswoman kind of affect to her. Giga never worked for Nijisanji and was in fact hired as an independent VTuber. She speaks a great deal about how in her past life, she just knows how business operates, and she, as somebody who can sense this kind of bullshit, I believe that, she knows what she's talking about. And she knows what she's talking about probably better than anybody in Vshojo did. So she did endless work with the company to try to get them to stop making boneheaded decisions. Because what happened is Gunrun was so high on his own idea. He's hiring his friends and paying way too much, and he's endlessly chasing a new revenue stream. He spent absurd amounts of money on marketing, debuted new talent when he probably shouldn't have, and never once really fixated on revenue, on shoring up revenue of what he had.
We lost you there, Dave.
Instead, moving to the next thing. Did you lose me?
Lost you for a second. So he never once, and then.
So he spent obscene amounts on marketing, debuted new talent when they probably shouldn't have, and revenue was always going to be solved by the next idea, rather than shoring it up on what he already had.
Oh, only like every tech company now in operation. Oh yeah, the rewards will come later.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Just keep investing. It'll pan out later. That's right.
It's very similar to the tech companies of the year 2000.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
It's very .com.
Yeah.
And one thing that you heard a few people say, going back and sort of reading the tea leaves, is how the hell is this company going to make money? Because Vshojo sold themselves as an equivalent brand to HoloLive, which is a major company that are very cold, they're exploitative, they're not necessarily cruel, but they're indifferent to the suffering of their talent and extract every penny they can out of them while the talent still make good living.
Yeah, typical corporate psychopathy. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're just a standard corporation. Vshojo takes less money from the talent, but offers the same product as HoloLive. Where are they getting the money? And that was the flaw in the very start of this, right? Is if they're only taking money from merchant sponsors, and they realized that in 23 when they tried to renegotiate these new contracts, demanding way more sponsorship and merch money.
Okay.
Right? Because they realized, oh God, our business model doesn't make any money, because it's very likely nobody actually sorted out a business plan. They were just excited, and I had.
So they have to claw it back through the contracts.
Right.
Right. And what happened here is, and this is kind of like stealing from the till or committing some small sin that you then, well, not a small sin, but to them a small sin that you get away with and you become habituated to it.
Yep.
Where when you don't pay your employees, you're in trouble immediately. It's massively illegal to suddenly not give someone a paycheck. Right? And it's one of the few things you never see businesses really do is just stop paying employees. The talent, like professional wrestlers, are independent contractors, not employees.
Right.
And you can cheat contractors a lot easier than you can cheat employees.
Yep.
Contractors have fewer rights, and it's harder to get that money. And when the talent have a primary source of income, because this is supplementary, I think it's a lot of money still. Like, no one's really said an exact amounts, but I think it's like with someone like Iron Mouse, it's probably in the 6 figures. Because she's massive. And Iron Mouse is a millionaire. And some of the talent who aren't at Iron Mouse level, probably in the 5 figures, like per year maybe. But the idea is if they hold that back, the talent can keep going, and this IOU keeps piling up, and then they use the IOU to pay down the next talent debut, or this marketing plan, or this big event, or these like extremely expensive bells and whistles. They're going to bring more eyes to the company, and thus bring in the revenue. And so they get addicted to cheating the talent and using that money as further investment money. That's how it turns into a Ponzi scheme.
There you go. That sucks. And again, seemingly starting off with good intentions, but you can't just fuck around.
The problem was that he fucked around. So a huge problem that happened in the aftermath of this that Giga and Henny have spoken about, Giga in great detail, is a ton of merchandise orders were placed by Vshojo. Right. The fans gave the company money, and the merchandise was never shipped. So the company, not only because buying and sending the merchandise is going to cost money, so they hold on to the money they get from the fans in order to, again, sink it into the next thing.
Oh my God.
And again, they were going to debut like 8 or 10 new talents that year who were all unknowns. Like, this was their money-saving problem.
That's
when their basic model is that they don't, it's that old joke, right? We lose money on every sale. How do we make up for it? In volume.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, but also to, I don't know. Sorry, my mind went blank there. You get to cut this part out. But just the idea of
leave it in.
Okay, as for a business, that's the worst thing you can do. To have a fandom that is very rabid, that is buying your specialized merch. The worst thing you can do is not send them their merch.
Yes.
That is not only a horrible thing to do, just in general,
it's
ripping
just
people off,
theft.
but it is theft, but it's also just like, what are you doing? How would you ever think that's a good idea?
Well, and what's happened is a fulfillment center, for example, which had not been paid, is now sitting on boxes of this stuff. And you've got Giga, who is not in a good financial position coming out of this because she's not an Iron Mouse. She did fine under Vshojo, but she is trying to sort her life out now. How does she get this merchandise to her fans without taking an enormous financial bath? Because these talents genuinely love their fans and hate that they were ripped off. So they want to free up this merchandise, but there's a lot of money in order to do that. So I think to this date, a lot of that merchandise has still not been shipped. And it's been 5 months. So that said, that's kind of like closing off the collapse of this. We've got, and almost everyone from Vshojo went back to their independent careers because Vshojo never owned the IP. And there's been a surge of goodwill for the talent since they've left Vshojo. And one of the big good stories is Iron Mouse, who, after telling everyone who tried to hire her to fuck off, launched her independent career and raised an obscene amount of money in no time. In her first stream, she had tens of thousands of subscribers almost immediately. And again, a subscriber is like a Patreon subscriber, right? It's not just a follower. So the tens of thousands of people giving her money. She and Connor Sea Dog have now raised $1 million for the good idea.
Wow.
The CEO has personally shouted her out and thanked her. And just recently, she even ran her first independent hologram show, which a friend purchased, and I got to watch a little bit.
So what this is telling me is that the problem seems to be with these middle management rent seekers. Really, again, now, you have a labor union. You form a union, or you directly market to. And now, obviously, if you're just starting out as a VTuber, somebody like Iron Mouse who has clout already, you can go off and be independent. People will follow you. The challenge is for somebody.
Yes.
What's it called? I think it's called the Matthew effect, where if you can build up a following. If you already have a large following and a lot of financial backing, or your own independent money, you can then parlay that into more independent work and more independent subscriptions. But if you're just starting out, it's a lot harder. Yeah. So how do you then? Yeah.
And another flaw with Vshojo's business model is that if working for a company becomes more of a pain in the ass than it's worth, and you keep your IP, what stops you from just quitting?
Right. Yeah, right.
And you gain all of the stuff the company invested in you and leave the company, and then you get to keep all your money. And you have the same number of fans, right? And so that's another flaw with the business model is, and so there's different ways that people are starting to do this. And I am actually going to talk about 2 companies I like, and sort of show you how I think a couple of them are doing a little better. But yeah, the short version is that the collapse of Vshojo amidst the collapse of multiple other smaller corpos, because there are probably 6 other stories I could tell about Walker style companies. Walker was the worst one, but there's insane stuff that happens because you've got a world with rich kids, dumb ideas who really like anime, and what they can do to vulnerable women who are looking to make a bunch of money. Or not even make a bunch of money, to find a life and career for themselves doing something they love. I think that's a fairer way to put it, because so many VTubers do it for the love of the game. So yeah, Vshojo was entirely like a gambler's fallacy kind of thing, where I'll just keep sinking more money in, and I will grab every spare penny I have. I am dead certain that the $500,000 Gunrun stole from the good IDF, he was confident that he would make that back tenfold because it's a gambler's fallacy.
Right. Sure. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And the simple truth is that Vshojo, and what's actually very frustrating about Vshojo is if there was competent business minds at the back end of it, it probably would have been what Gunrun wanted it to be.
Wow.
All right. So, and with that, I'm going to leave that here. And then hopefully some conversations about talent agencies that I think are doing a little bit better.
Okay.
So try to leave it on a positive.
Okay, that's interesting.
And with that, we'll end our recording for the day. Thank you, everybody, to our wonderful fans.
You can send your angry hate mail to contact@thewonderkamer.ca. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Wonderkamer. Find us under The Wonderkamer on Blue Sky, YouTube, and Instagram.